Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub. Today I'm joined by Abdul, FPL Salah, to have a look at some more price reveals. We're going to first of all have a look at the man in the thumbnail and the title of this one, Marcus Rashford. Really interested, Abdul, to get your thoughts on him in particular and see how he lines up with the other prices that have been revealed. But overall, so far, before we get into the majority, what are your thoughts with the general pricing?
I think generally they've been okay. I mean, there's been a few cheap ones in there, like Bruno at 8.5, but then they've gone and priced, Trent at 8 million and Haaland at 14. So yeah, I think there's quite there's quite a few underpriced assets, but at the same time they've thrown a few curveballs, and there's no way I thought they were going to do Trent at 8 million. So yeah, that's good. I think that's an interesting price point. Still think he's worth it at 8 million, but yeah, I think generally it's kind of followed the same kind of trend as last season, where they've gone for the safe side of underpricing rather than overpricing. So
Yeah.
it was pretty much what I expected, to be honest, Jack.
Yeah. All right. Let's get your thoughts immediately. Rashford, 9 million, along with the other United assets. Dalot comes in at 5, Shaw at 5.5. Nice price. Sancho at 7 as well. But the main one, yes, Rashford at 9.
Yeah, Rashford, I think it's fine at 9. I think Bruno probably should have been 9 as well. I think that probably would have been fair, but I think it does make it interesting though, because Bruno's got penalties. Probably did underperform a little bit last season. Obviously Rashford's got the goal threat. So yeah, I think if they're at the same price, then it'd be Rashford. But I think with Bruno 8.5, 0.5 cheaper, makes it a bit of a decision. But yeah, we kind of have to see what other players come in at, because Son's came in at 9 as well.
Yeah.
Historically, he's been a much better FPL asset than Rashford. So yeah. I think 9 million is fair, and I think we just kind of need to wait. I'm really interested in seeing what the likes of Saka and Martinelli come in at. I think that'll kind of really tell us whether we go for Rashford or not.
It's funny because in recent years we actually haven't had that many kind of mid-price, 8-9 million midfielders. This season we're going to have about 6 minimum, depending on the form of other players that we'll look at in this video. I mean, off the bat,
you've got
4.
Yeah, I mean Odegaard, Bruno, then we've got Saka, Madison. We'll probably come into that around about that price point as well. Yeah, I guess that does make an interesting choice rather than, I think last season was, I think Rashford was 6.5 million started off. Yeah, so a big price hike, especially for one good season. So yeah, let's see.
So right now, Bruno v Rashford, who are you picking?
If it was Bruno v Rashford, I think right now probably none of them, but if I was to go for one, probably Rashford, just for the goal threat.
Okay, let's move on to the final price reveal from yesterday, which we didn't cover in yesterday's video. Liverpool. You've already mentioned Trent.
Yeah.
Thoughts on him? 8 million. It does seem a little bit steep when you consider that Robertson is 6.5. Will he be in your team, do you think?
I think he probably will be. I think he's going to be one of the first names on my team sheet, to be honest. I think 8 million is probably, I think that's what I expected him to come in at last season.
Yeah.
I think the surprise with this season is because he had a fairly, by his standards, a poor season, last season, but obviously near the end of the campaign he moved into that kind of hybrid midfield role, and his stats picked up considerably. So yeah, I think that's probably what's kind of preempted FPL towers to put him at 8 million. But yeah, I still think he's worth it. I still think he probably is worth the 1.5 over Robertson. And yeah, as things stand, he will be in my game week 1 team.
Yeah, I think obviously finished the season super strongly in that new position as well, which may be one of the reasons why he had that little bit of a jump up.
Yeah.
McAllister and Nunes, are they options?
McAllister, I'm not really interested in, to be honest. There's no telling, where he's going to play in that kind of, or how he's going to perform as an FPL asset for Liverpool. He's not going to be on penalties anymore, which is a big factor in of him being a good pick last season.
Yeah.
But Nunes at 7.5 million is extremely interesting. I know there's a lot of competition in that Liverpool front line. There's going to be obviously, there's Salah, Gakpo, Nunes, and then they've got Jota as well. I think if he's the first choice, number 9, if he's nailed, then that's an absolute steal. If Gakpo gets injured or something like that, and then he becomes nailed option, then that's that's an absolute bargain. But yeah, listen, he's still a wait and see. He's by no way no means nailed in my team, but I do think he could become an absolute steal at that price, 7.5. So it's a really interesting price point.
Absolutely true. I mean, yeah, I guess you're kind of waiting for Gakpo to lose form or maybe pick up an injury just because of that competition on the left, as you say, with the likes of Jota and Diaz. Obviously, he can play there, but you'd rather than play up top.
Yeah.
Fulham, Mitrovic comes in at the same price as Darwin. The difference there being that obviously Mitrovic is relatively nailed, whereas Darwin
Yeah.
isn't. Comparison there?
It's probably a fair price point because I think there was a lot of, I don't know, I mean, he missed a lot of games, Mitrovich, he missed the games through injury and he missed games, for that suspension. So I think 7.5 is a good price point, actually. I think it's fair. And I think he's on penalty. He's a 90-minute man. He's nailed to, play and start games. So, yeah, again, he's not somebody that interests me at the moment, to start the season with. I just think the way the kind of prices have been kind of so far, the prices that we've got, I think it kind of calls for maybe a packed midfield, and then with Haaland up front, you probably going to go for two cheap forwards.
Yeah.
So at the moment, the forwards are a bit yeah, the price is fair, but will you have them in your game week 1 team? Probably not. It's probably just one of those where you kind of wait and see how they get on. When Fulham has a good fixture on, you can probably look at them then. In terms of the other assets, I mean, I think the 5.5 for Pereira, probably not interested anymore in that.
Yeah,
he was good asset at 4.5. And then 4.5 for Tete and Ream, when you've got for example the likes of Botman at 4.5.
Yeah,
it's they're not good options in my opinion at that price. But
strange pricing.
I mean, I think 4.5 is probably fair. I mean, 4 million would probably be cheap. I think they've got an underpriced, the likes of Botman at 4.5. Playing for a Newcastle team who are in the Champions League, who are only going to improve. So yeah, we'll get to Newcastle, I think.
Or
they were yesterday, wasn't it?
Newcastle coming up.
Yeah,
but 100%. I agree with you. 4.5 for Tete and Ream is completely fine. It's just more the future names that we'll get to. A quick word on Forest. Anyone here that really tickles your fancy? Awani at 6.5. A better price, perhaps. I wanted to get your thoughts actually. Given that you're probably going to go with the likes of Haaland and a packed midfield, I don't know if you've done the maths yet or worked out what your basic team structure will be, but do you have an idea of what price that second striker can be, what you can afford to go up to?
I've not really drafted a team yet, but in terms of budget forwards, I think I can't see there being a better budget forward than Awani. I was quite impressed by him last season. I thought he was going to have a really good season last season, because he had a really good record at Union Berlin, and there was quite a big I don't know if you remember, but pre-season there was quite a big hype around him because of his numbers. Didn't really live up to it, but then he kind of picked up at the end of the season again. Yeah. So I really like him. I think if he's nailed, then he's a great budget option. I think it's much better than Johnston, but obviously Johnston's came in as a midfielder. But yeah, I really like Awani, and again, it kind of depends on the other forwards, but he could well be the budget forward that I'll go for, to kind of partner Haaland.
Sure. And for Johnston, as we've spoken about, a packed midfield means there's probably not going to be too much space for him. Now on to the Chelsea lads. Yeah, I think these are interesting. I just want to hear your overall thoughts on these 4 players.
I mean, I really like it. I mean, they've been Chelsea have been pretty much priced as a mid-table team. Sterling at 7 million.
Came 12th, to be fair.
Sorry?
Came 12th last season.
Oh yeah, they did, but that's one
it.
season.
Yeah.
And that's a one-off. And I think when you're looking at pricing players, I think you need to kind of look at least 3 or 4 seasons. Yeah, Chelsea had a one-off, but now they've got Pochettino. They're only going to improve. And, Sterling at 7 million. I think 2 or 3 seasons ago, he was 12 million. So that he could end up being a fantastic option. James and Chilwell at 5.5 are, again, great assets. Frustrating to own, but, at that price, they're very, very tempting. Mudryk, 6.5. I mean, that's probably fair. I don't see him being nailed anytime soon. I mean, again, it's the second season, he could kind of, hit the ground running. But the thing is, each one of those assets there that we've been given that price for could end up being absolutely insane value.
Yeah.
If, Chelsea hit the ground running. So I think, again, I think FPL have been a bit kind of risky in those pricing strategies. I
agree.
Again, if, maybe Sterling should have been 7.5 or 8. Yeah, again, if Chelsea kind of play to their abilities, the players they have, the team they have, and with the manager that they've got at the moment, if they play to their abilities, those players are going to be absolute bargains. And Nkunku at 7.5 million as well, who was released yesterday, is an absolute steal as well. I think, especially when you've got the likes of Mitrovich at 7.5, Watkins at 8. I just think, a Chelsea player, a Chelsea forward who scored, I think he scored 53 goals in the last 2 seasons on Nkunku. That's an unbelievable record, and we know he's an unbelievable player. I've seen him in the Champions League playing. I think he's world class or close to it. But I was thinking in my head, this is what we kind of thought about Timo Werner when he came over a few seasons ago. So Yeah, let's see. Let's see how he gets on. But I do think 7.5 million. He could well be somebody I start with, to be honest. And Nkunku. I think out of the 7.5 million forwards at the moment, he is
Wow.
the clear favourite.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see how this new Chelsea team looks under Pochettino. Yeah, I completely agree with Sterling. I tweeted earlier, and by the way, guys, our Twitters are on screen right now. They are for every video. I know Abdul as well. You're very active on Instagram. I believe you have the same handle on Instagram, FPL Salah. Go and give Abdul a follow. That I thought that Sterling could be this season's Rashford in the sense that Rashford was underpriced last year. Obviously, he went on to do amazing things and completely embarrassed that price. But pricing someone like Rashford at 6.5 when you know his capability, I mean, yeah, he had a great season. But was anyone completely shocked that he had a really good season? Would anyone be shocked this season if Sterling got, I don't know, 15 goals? Yeah, it'd be a great season, but you wouldn't say, oh, that's unheard of for him. As you mentioned, he was priced at 12 million just a few years ago.
Yeah,
it is risky.
Just look at his goals and assist ratio over the last 6-7 seasons for City, and
yeah,
you'll see exactly what he's capable of.
Indeed, and James and Chilwell. Oh, I think that's perfect pricing. To be fair, I think 6 would have been steer clear. That's puntable.
I think they've gone with 5.5 because of how injury prone they are.
Yeah,
there's no way you'd bet your mortgage on them, not staying fit the whole season.
100%.
It's just one of those. So yeah, it's just one of those where you own them for the right periods, for the right fixtures.
Indeed. All right, let's move on. A player you've mentioned earlier who, I cannot believe he's coming at this price. Botman at 4.5 and Newcastle in general. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Botman is the clear standout there at 4.5. I mean, as I said, he's the same price as the likes of Ream, the likes of, Nottingham Forest defenders. And Newcastle's defence is probably going to be, I would say, in the top 4 best defences in the league this season, easily. And, they're only going to improve. They've got a great goalkeeper behind them, Nick Pope. They've got a good defence. So I think he's pretty, I mean, I hate saying this word, nailed, but I think he's probably,
he is, though.
Team. Yeah, I mean, I think I can't see a 4.5 million defender coming in that's going to be as good value as Botman, even though the prices that we have at the moment, I think he's definitely going to be the best 4.5 million defender in the game.
And Isak at 7.5 again goes into that 7.5 bracket, just in comparison to Nkunku. The thing with Isak, I guess, is that he's now adapted to the league and shown how prolific he can be. Didn't really do it, to be fair, when Wilson came into that number 9 slot at the end of last season, so I guess that's a concern. But anything on him? Again,
I think that price is all right. I think Wilson will probably be 8 million. And again, when Wilson's up front, playing as a number 9, then Isak isn't as good an option.
Yeah.
He seems to have a bit more assist threat than goal threat when he's playing in that position. So again, just looking at the other 7.5 million forward options, I think even with the ones we've got, I'd probably prefer Mitrovich over Isak, and definitely prefer Nkunku over him. So yeah, I mean, again, not one to start the season with, but who knows how it's going to kind of play out over the first 10 game weeks.
Now, speaking of cheaper strikers, Antonio at 6 million. He has been FPL gold before.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember his 4 goals against Norwich back in the day. Him at 6 million, Bowen at 7. Obviously, the midfield bracket at that price is so busy, as we've said. But Antonio at 6, anything there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great price point for him. I mean, I think he has fallen off in terms of his output and stats over the last few seasons, but I don't think, as far as I know, Skamaka is going to be at West Ham.
I think he's going to go, isn't he?
I think so. I think from what I've seen, I've not been following it too much, but Antonio's going to be their number 9. West Ham again. So West Ham are a team who they've got the players. They did underperform a lot last season. I don't think they're going to do as bad as last season. And I don't think the likes of I think the likes of Bowen and Antonio will do better FPL wise last season as well. So yeah, Bowen and Antonio's price looks pretty tasty to me. And again, I think there will be options. I just think with the prices that kind of FPL have done so far, there's so many options there that could be great. Even Bowen and Antonio, the Chelsea assets, and it's all about I think when they start the season, it's going to be one of those where it's when it's the most unpredictable. But once we get to 4 or 5 game weeks in, maybe up to game week 10, the template is going to be so strong, and because these players are so cheap, it's just going to be so easy to get everybody. So I think this, having a good start to the season is going to be key here.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like if you jump on one of these differential players, but a player that's not incredibly highly owned early on, they do well. Then because I agree, one of these players has to do better than their price, because there are so many of them at that price that seem like they could be underpriced. So yeah, once it comes down to it, people know what that player may be. Maybe one in the case that everyone jumps on. There we go. All right. Another striker that's priced even cheaper than Antonio. I kind of feel that you're not going to be up for this one, but Edouard at 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, when the Palace kind of, no offense to like any Palace fans out there, but when the Palace prices came out, I just kind of ignored it. I don't think there's anybody there from them that I'm going to be interested in. I mean, I was probably the most interested in Zaha and Eze. You got Eze's price yesterday, which was I think 7.5, which I guess I would say it's probably slightly. I'd probably say he's worth 7, so I think he's probably 0.5 overpriced. But yeah, I can't see me owning any Palace players, soon. To be fair, Hodgson's done a great job with them. Yeah. I mean, they've absolutely, been phenomenal since he's came back in, and now he's signed a permanent deal. But yeah, I've got a feeling that kind of honeymoon period will be over quite soon.
So not interested in Johnston at all?
As a 4 point, actually, to be honest, that's a good point. Probably not just now. I'd say the goalkeepers that we've seen so far, we've not had many. He's one of the obviously the best 4.5 options, but let's see, because I think with Ederson and, for example, Ederson and Kepa, if they come in at 5 million, then obviously you're going to pay that extra 5 million for one of those rather than Johnston. So yeah, probably not, but I think he's probably going to be a decent 4.5 million goalkeeper.
Okay, now moving on to Everton, who are actually the penultimate set of prices for this video, as one more set of prices has come out whilst we've been recording.
Oh, has it?
It has indeed. No spoilers, but we'll get to it. Don't you worry. Anyone in Everton that, I mean, just no one here is of any interest, are they really?
No, I don't think so. Again, with Everton, it's just one of those, and it's a Sean Dyche team as well. It's like, yeah, you probably won't go for the attackers. Tarkowski at 4.5 million, Jack. Probably he's decent, but again, we're going back to Botman. Why would maybe if you're going for 4.5 million defenders, yeah, he's decent. Looking at Everton's fixtures, I guess they're okay to start with. They've got Fulham, Villa, Wolves, Sheffield United, and Brentford in their first 6, so it's actually not too bad. But looking at their kind of defensive numbers last season, even under Sean Dyche, it wasn't pretty reading. So yeah, I think I'll probably pass on them for now.
Tarkowski, one of those that I can see being in my team at some point, maybe come the doubles or definitely blanks. But yeah, for now, a bit boring. Okay then, Brighton players. 4 Brighton players have been released during this recording. Estupiñán comes in at 5. That must be an interesting price, right? A lot of people are thinking he could be 5.5. Does 5 seem fair?
5 seems really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 5 is a great price point. When especially Brighton again, I think they could potentially again have a top 4, defensive. They're a great team, both defending and going forward, and Estupiñán's really attacking. So yeah, Estupiñán at 5 million is really intriguing to me. I think out of those, March 6.5, Welbeck 6, Cross 6.5. Yeah, March is okay at 6.5, but yeah, Estupiñán definitely stands out there for me. Definitely on the radar, 100%.
I do find it strange that March and Gross have been priced at the same level as Mitoma. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about Mitoma's price point actually yesterday. Yeah, that's I think that just, for me, I think again they've kind of based it on how many points have been scored, and yeah, rather than the kind of underlying stats. So yeah, I think for me, when you're looking at those 3 at 6.5, because I think Mitoma comes out as the easy winner there. So yeah, I think they've probably kind of missed the trick there and putting March and Gross at 6 million.
Okay, mate. Well, that is all the prices that we have so far at the time of recording. Now, to be fair, I don't really know how many more teams there are to be revealed. It can't be that many at all over the course of the rest of this evening and maybe tomorrow morning. But who knows? The game may well be released at some point tomorrow. I hope it is. We can get all the prices. I hope there are some interesting picks still, left uncovered. We don't just know every price before we go into the game and we have our teams built. But it seems like we may have that. I don't know. I don't know your thoughts on that. But yeah. Nonetheless, a lot of articles and analysis and just great depth all available on the website before the brand new My Team tool is released. Go and check that out down below. Abdul, thank you very much. Really appreciated your tips and advice on that. What do you think? When's the game going to come out?
If I was to guess, I'd say, judging by how many, the frequency of the price releases today, I think it'll be tomorrow. Okay. I think, I mean, they've only got like a few left, so I doubt they're going to stagger that over tomorrow and then, release on Thursday. So yeah, I'd probably get ready tomorrow for the game launch.
Well, there we go. Fingers on buzzers to get that. Hopefully, single-digit ID. I believe that one day it can be done. All right, mate. Thank you as always. And guys, we will see you tomorrow for a video that I hope is a FPL release date video.